Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually saw Sony throughout this past week get into some very big drama, and we actually had a lot of really big callouts too as well that got a lot of heat, a lot of attention, and overall, it's actually kind of a really bad situation, especially for developers out for the Sony network, like on the PlayStation Store, and as well out there for a lot of indie developers too. So I kind of want to go make this video, kind of talk about this, kind of give you guys my thoughts, because overall, it's actually kind of weird because I do really think a lot of the times there's some really good indie games out there that actually can make or break a game, a system like Steam, EA, whatever it is. Sometimes we've actually seen these really small games go and pop up with massive bouts of popularity. Some good cases and points of that are like Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, Valheim, and a lot of other really big games, maybe even like Fall Guys too as well would go and count. So it's always kind of crazy to go and see that sometimes we're seeing these really big, high industry heads making this stuff really hard for promotion, really hard for people to go buy the game and find out about the game. So let's go kind of give a little bit of a first-hand experience over here on how this actually happened. So if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. As well, make sure you guys are subscribed for the PS5 giveaway. As well, Amazon links as always if you guys are still trying to go and find your PS5s. Link down below for the PS5 disc, digital, console, controller, all of that good stuff. Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below, and of course Weeble. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100, you guys go get free stack and free money. Go ahead and basically you guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency, you guys go and get free Bitcoin, and of course like the video or give me your thoughts down below because all of this stuff is extremely intriguing. And as well, I'm actually kind of a very big indie game person. I love playing indie games, finding good new indie games, and as well, games like Hades, etc. have been some of my favorite games I've ever actually played. So it's always kind of weird to kind of see that sometimes like PlayStation is getting a little bit under heat that, well, they're not really supporting them. So let's go down this video itself. So in case you guys actually haven't had a chance to go and see, we'll go show you guys all here throughout this article. Basically, we're seeing that Sony might even be making people have to go and pay upwards of $25,000 just to have any bits and pieces of promotional like aspects on the PlayStation Store, which is kind of crazy because I feel like it makes sense. Like, you know, it's a business. They need a market. Like, if someone just makes a brand new indie game with basically no premise and no reason for people to actually go buy the game, or there could be bugs into it, etc., I'm sure Sony themselves does not want to go and promote it. But it's just more so crazy the amount of actual money it costs, both on the, if your guys are factoring pure indie games, $25,000 is a lot, but on the reverse side, if you're factoring a game like Battlefield or Call of Duty, $25,000 is nothing. Now, of course, I'm sure Sony would just go promote those games out either way because they're going to make a lot more than $25,000. Let's kind of go and talk about this. I'm going to dissect into the actual article and like talks and Twitter threads a little bit more throughout this as well. So basically, this has kind of been like spurring up the moment throughout the past few days where indie games can be absolutely incredible, but often within the support of major publishers, it's hard to gain the visibility needed to succeed. And of course, I agree on that. There's a lot of really good hidden gems out there that it just needs like that one really big Twitch streamer like the XQC or that one really big YouTuber like a Markiplier or PewDiePie, whatever, to basically go and spur it off into, well, like massness, like where everyone knows about the game and plays the game. Think Fortnite, think Fall Guys, etc., which is insane. So basically now we're actually seeing a lot of call outs over here for Sony because they're just making it so much even harder to even find these games. In a Twitter thread, co-founder of Neon Doctrine, Ian Garner, spoke on the difficulties of getting a game publicity. As he states, if Platform X doesn't like your game, no fanfare, no feature, no love, there is nothing you can do to fix this. On top of this, he also states just how difficult it is to navigate the bureaucracy elements of publishing in order to potentially get the promotional support of the platform. Not only do game developers have to develop the game for the platform, they also have to work with account managers, provide social media posts, and be compatible with over 3 generations of back-end software. Even then, the evaluation process is not clear to developers. How is this evaluation done? Don't know. They don't share that, nor will they share the value they ascribe to my game. So basically, the issue is over here is you could have someone who's making a game, and they basically have to go put their heart and soul into making the specific indie game or whatever game it is. And that's a hard process. I know a lot of game developers. I've been streaming on Twitch. I've interacted with a lot of indie devs. I've done sponsors. I've worked with people. People in my own community have actually made and developed games too as well. So I know how hard of a process it is, and as well, since I've done so many smaller sponsored indie games and stuff, I know how hard it is to go and push that, like push it, promote it, and all of that good stuff. And also a lot of it's luck. I think Stardew Valley, that game was a very good game, but there actually was a lot of luck elements mixed down into it to make it as viral as it is. So It's always kind of crazy. So if you basically have a big developer, maybe even think for like PlayStation that even went and put Fall Guys as a PS Plus game, so a lot of people had a chance to go get Fall Guys for free. Basically, that's a really good indicator to go get a lot of people into your game and doing a lot of promotion. So basically, the one major issue on this, we'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. However, if developers pay $25,000, they can actually circumvent these steps and be guaranteed a feature. For indie developers, this price may be too steep, especially with the platform's existing 30% revenue cut. So basically, a lot of people too as well are just assuming it's Sony, which makes sense because they like the person who calls them out, which I'll show you guys in a second right here, basically is like, hey, it's a really nice console that's also definitely not Game Pass. So a lot of people are just basically saying, hey, it's probably Sony as well. It could also maybe be Nintendo, but I think it's more so focused on the Sony brand. So basically, my kind of quick thoughts on this before we dive into the actual Twitter thread that kind of sparked this discussion. It stinks because like if you're a small indie game, you are not guaranteed and deserve to have that promotion for free. I know how the world works. Like there's millions upon millions of indie games out there, and of course, which one makes one more likely to go and be promoted than the other one? Now, sometimes they do have individual deals, like PlayStation really likes your game. They want to maybe put it up on like PS Plus, think like Destruction All-Stars or Fall Guys. So it makes sense that there is some selectiveness, but as well, it's also a business. Same thing with Steam too as well, where I'm sure a lot of you guys know about for PC games. It's, of course, there's gonna be a selective process over there. Maybe like someone really likes the game, maybe just got lucky and they met you at a convention, they met you at a PAX, etc. I get it. So it is like, it's definitely the luck of the draw, and I just feel like that's just how the world is, which stinks, but just how it is. But as well, I think the crazy part is the $25,000 price point. But I do agree, once again, Sony is a business. They do want to basically go and like make it worth it for them to put the effort into it and promote the game itself. But it's almost a bit weirder too as well if it's pretty much a guaranteed access, because what if the game is absolutely awful and then Sony kind of takes that fall? It's a very, very intriguing subject that has a lot of like black and white. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys can give your thoughts down below, because it's definitely not a cookie cutter type of situation. But I want to go and read up Ian's comments over here. So, okay, I am mad enough to burn some bridges, because honestly, what's the point of a bridge that I'm not allowed to cross? So here's a thread about Platform X. I will be defining Platform X, but is the operator of a very successful console that does not have the Game Pass. So at this point, it's either Sony or Nintendo, leaning a lot more towards Sony. So Platform X gives developers no ability to manage their games. In order to get promotion, you must jump through hoops, beg, and plead for any level of promotion, and a blog is not as good as they think it is. And Platform X doesn't like your game, no fanfare, no love, no feature. But once again, like I get it, because, well, if you're, a game, you kind of almost need to earn it, or you kind of have to scheme it up a little bit. And that stinks. Like, I hate that. I understand that. But like, it stinks because sometimes indie developers can make the best game ever. Think Hades when it first comes out. That game, to me, if I was Sony, I'd want to promote it. I want to promote it for free. They actually promote it out too as well with their E3 conferences. And like, say Xbox did, and I'm sure Sony will probably do that as well with their upcoming event that's been rumored up here too as well. So it's very, very intriguing because, well, like, how do you kind of decide on who actually goes and gives it? And I think that's actually a big thing that this Ian guy is even pushing for the indie scene, because he just doesn't know. Like, he generally wants to know, like, do they want me to go and even include Sony characters, but I don't have the copyright for that? Can I do that? Do I have to message a certain person? Do I have to have like a certain number of sales? Like, what do I want to go and do to promote this on out? So basically his other statements over here, there is nothing you can do to fix this. Wishlists have no effect, which is also kind of a bad thing too, because if you guys know on Steam, the more people who wishlist a certain game, it gets promoted more often, it has a higher likelihood of being promoted. Steam sees this, and they may also push it up a little bit more higher too as well on the list. There's even sections for the top wishlisted and most hyped up upcoming games. So that basically does do something. But if you do this on, say, things like Sony, it doesn't do anything at all. So all of your personal marketing means nothing to the platform. All that matters is their evaluation. How are the evaluations done? Don't know. They don't share that, nor do they share the value they ascribe to my game. So before you even launch a game, you need to develop the game itself, which, by the way, in case you guys are curious, basically you have to make a separate game. Like, if you're making a game for PC, you have to go and port it and make it differently, change up the coding, change up the game, play test it, to say maybe have it up on the PlayStation 5, or same for the Nintendo or Xbox. Like, it's a whole big process, and especially if you guys are a smaller indie dev studio, you have maybe a good selling game up on Steam, but then you try to go and port it to the PlayStation 5 to have a bigger, wider audience, then guess what? Sometimes you can maybe get completely screwed over because you just spent all that time and no one buys it because there's no promotion besides maybe your own core community. And maybe they already bought the game because they already follow you in the first place and they want to see like developer updates and stuff like that. So I can definitely see how this gets really, really rough really fast. You also have to go through their also really weird like loot check spread. They basically have to have 3 different generations of back-end software. You have to basically have trailers for them to promote on out for the PlayStation Store. You have to make an actual blog post. You have to do multiple forms of social media. And a lot of this stuff too as well is just a lot of issues. It kind of adds up really fast. And then for 3 and 4, you need to go through an account manager. When it's time to get an account manager, we were told, I'm not sure. They were assigned by resources. So basically, if they want to have that middleman, it just doesn't actually go and get seen in the first place. And as well, you can even do a launch discount without their approvals too as well. So basically, if someone wants to be like, hey guys, like I just made Stardew Valley. It's finally coming out on the PlayStation 5. Oh my God. 30% off for the first like launch week to support everyone who's really hyped up for the game. They can't even barely even do that in the first place. Like it's actually really rough, I feel like, for all these indie devs. And don't worry, there is a way to get to guarantee you get featured. All you need to do is spend a very reasonable minimum of $25,000, and then also 30% of all of your future earnings. Like this is awful for indie devs. I could definitely see how people could have issues with this. And then also whenever the game is on the platform, likely without any support from the platform, you may think, no problem. I can also sync up the discounts on platform with Steam and others. Wrong. So basically discounts are invite only. Invites are also very limited. So once again, you can just like, you can have like a 30% off sale on Steam, 30% sale off on like Xbox, 30% off sale on like the Switch. And then basically Sony might go and completely ditch it on out. Now, of course, this also could be Nintendo too as well, but we know it's not Xbox itself. It's been little years since we could put a title of ours on discount, and I spoke to some other very popular devs today, and they had the same experience. So it's not just a one-person issue. This is actually being a lot more widespread, getting Kotaku articles and other different types of publications as well, and also other people in the indie scene have also been noticing too. So in conclusion, the Platform X is super successful and awesome hardware, but their back-end and process is straight out of the 2000s. I have no idea how to succeed on the platform, and they won't tell me. So basically, you guys are seeing like pretty prominent indie developers over here that are having issues up the wazoo just to even have their games listed, to get promoted, to get sales and everything. And a lot of people, especially for people who are big on indie games and indie platforms, have been very, very up in arms when it comes to Sony for making this such a hard process for them to make a living over here. So I can totally get why it's such a big issue and why there's so much drama with it. Because if you're an indie developer, why even develop on a platform like Nintendo or Sony? We can just throw it up on Steam and probably have a lot more, like, just a lot more options everywhere. So, and basically overall, it just kind of leads to the fact of like a lot of people are just saying it's rough. A lot of people kind of agreeing. A lot of other indie devs as well were kind of supporting up this arguments too as well. So it just kind of stinks. Like, it really, really kind of stinks too as well. And also the same person too to kind of go and put it towards Sony. They actually did go and retweet articles about IG in India, talking about how bad this is for all the indie developers. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts. Like, it actually is a very, really crazy thing, because that does kind of seem like it's very anti-indie, and you could definitely make a lot of money as like a game hosting place if you guys go and find that next huge indie game, that next Fall Guys, that next, you know, like Stardew Valley. Basically, there's a lot of good indie games out there, Hades, that can go astronomically well. But if you're someone like, if you want to be more hands-on with your game, a lot of Sony developers and indie developers don't want to mess around with this unless they're a AAA studio. And rightfully so, if you guys can't work with your product, you can't price your product, it makes it very hard to keep it competitive. And as well, if you guys can go and do that with Steam or Nintendo or whatever other platform they're talking about, why just not just do it there? So a little bit of a big discussion kind of floating around. I would like to hear your thoughts down below if you guys wanna. As well, I kind of feel bad for all the indie people out there because, well, I'm a PC guy. I just buy all my indie games up on Steam. But I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. If you guys are like the video, subscribe if you guys want to for the PS5 giveaway. As well, thank you guys just all for so much for chilling. Twitter and Twitch stream as well. Link down below if you guys want to follow. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. And of course, Weeble and Coinbase, sign up and get that free affiliate money and rock that stuff on out. Love you guys and have a very safe 4th of July too as well. Love you guys.